Hey everyone, I wanted to just kind of pop on here really quick and give you an update. It has been probably a little bit over a month since I've done my last video. It's kind of been crazy, to be honest. I think like with the holidays, and my birthday is literally the day after Christmas, so then there was that. Plus work, it's just, there was a lot of things kind of going on all at once. But now that we're through all of that, I kind of wanted to get back in the swing of doing these videos, doing these updates, and kind of keeping you all along for the journey, because it is a journey. This is our second placement for those of you who may be coming here for the first time. And our first placement was a teenage girl, and that was one of the hardest experiences that Cody and I have had to go through. It definitely shook us to the point where we kind of had to make a decision if we wanted to continue doing foster care, or if we wanted to give it maybe one more shot and just see if maybe it just so happened to not be a good start, and maybe there was better things to look forward to in the future. So obviously here we are with another placement, so you can see what we decided. This placement comes with its own set of challenges, and I think any placement will. Like, even your own biological child, you're going to have just difficulties, issues, negative stuff that comes along with it. Like, nothing's perfect, so we expect its challenges. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would say 90% of the challenges that we do have in this current placement has nothing to do with the actual placement. It has everything to do with trying to basically be a team with social services. I think Cody and I are going to be having some serious discussions about what our future looks like being foster parents. I don't know if we will continue in the future. I think we're really going to have to discuss that, because at this point, I don't think we could feel less supported if somebody was like trying to make it that way. I think it's important that people getting into foster care, I wish somebody would have told me this. Don't just look at the challenges that you're going to have with the child being placed with you, because there are so many of those. There are. But there's also like the reward portion of that, which is normally what like allows people to become foster parents, because they say, this challenge and this challenge with that child, it'll be so worth it when you see their progress, or, when you see how far they've come and you see them accomplish things. And all of that it makes it worth it when you're dealing with a child and their struggles and their issues. And if that creates stress on you, it's stressful, but it's worth it in the end when you see them succeed. The difficult part comes in when you have to ask yourself, are the struggles that I'm going to get dealing with DSS, are those going to be worth it? Because you're going to have struggles. I'm telling you right now, you're going to have issues working with your county, or even with, I'm sure it's the same thing even in a private agency. I don't know what it is about this field of work, but it will get you into a place where everything that you do doesn't really seem worth it anymore, because the stress and the issues and the difficulty to get one single thing done, you're not heard, you're not listened to, you're not checked on. And God forbid you need help with something, you can't get a hold of anybody, you don't get a call back, you don't get an email back, you're just there. And I wish I would have asked ourselves that before we got into this, because to be honest, like, dealing with struggles from DSS was never a question in my mind. I always just kept thinking, like, you know, Cody, it's going to be really hard for our schedules to change, and it's going to be weird having, you know, a different person in the house to kind of have their dynamic and their needs to meet now. And oh, what about these behaviors? And ooh, what if, you know, what if they have this going on, or drugs, or you know, just, it never crossed my mind to think about what would happen if we got into a situation where we were supposed to be a team with this department and it wasn't actually a team setting. How alone we would feel. And that's the position that I feel like we have ultimately been put in. And this video is not supposed to obviously steer anybody away from doing foster care, because if it's in your heart, you need to do it. And so I don't regret doing it, because it was in my heart, and it was such a passion and a dream of mine that, like, if I wouldn't have done it, I would have regretted it my entire life. But after getting into it, I feel differently about it, because it's not the package wrapped in a pretty little bow that they tell you it's going to be in these classes. You know, like, they tell you, oh, it's going to be hard, but, you know, we're a team, we're here for you, you need to reach out to this person or that person, and, you know, we're all here to help you. And it just isn't the case. And I wish that they would just stop pretending like that's how it is, because it's not. And I just keep hearing so much about, oh, you know, the department is just so overworked and it's so run down, and, you know, they need help. And the truth is, we had a really good social worker for our last placement, and she was a very busy woman, but she did her job. I mean, and she did it impeccably. She was amazing at communication. She was amazing at, you know, multitasking. And we weren't her only case, you know, but she cared. And if she didn't answer our phone call right away, she would call me back very shortly after. Like, I didn't have to feel worried if she didn't answer her phone, because I knew, like, she'll get back to me. Like, she must really be busy. We had that working relationship. And she didn't sugarcoat stuff for Cody and I either. She said it flat out, like, oh, I don't think that's going to be able to happen. Or, oh, yeah, I see where you guys are coming from. Like, let me get on that for you. If she said she was going to find us an answer, she found an answer. This has been such a difficult struggle. And I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. And this is just one of many, but this is the one that we are currently dealing with and have been dealing with for a while now. So it's in regards to daycare. When DSS tells you that they will find daycare for your child and that they will pay for it, it's a very blanketed statement, because that's only part of the way true. So we now have a almost 2-year-old, and Cody has a full-time job and I have a full-time job. We don't have a daycare for our foster daughter. She has been having to go to my sister's, which, you know, was nice, but that's a lot to put on my sister. And she has 2 children of her own, so she's doing us a favor to keep her until we find care. Well, DSS was supposed to find care. We've had our foster daughter for, this is going on our 3rd month now. And we don't have care, because every daycare that they apparently found did not correspond with my work hours. So we could get her to care, but there'd be nobody to pick her up. Then there was an issue with like these fees that the daycare was trying to charge. So there was like the normal rate, and then there was different fees that were also going to be part of the rate. One of which was a diaper fee. And it was like, I don't remember if you paid it, I think you paid it weekly. And DSS said, oh, well, we're not going to pay for that. So then Cody and I are like, that's quite a bit of money when you really add that up to a weekly charge. We can't afford that. Plus, on top of that, you have to provide the diapers. So we would essentially be buying diapers for our home, diapers for her to go to daycare, plus paying them a diaper fee. But I don't really understand what the diaper fee was for. Like, I don't know if they were trying to charge us for them to change her diaper. I don't know. And so basically, be very clear when you're told things. Don't just take everything at face value. Ask questions like, so you guys pay for everything with daycare, or do you only pay for a portion of it? What responsibilities will we have financially? It's been a struggle. So I basically get told that there is only that one daycare that we can use for her. And I said, well, that literally is impossible. I don't get out in time to pick her up. And they literally said, no, we close at 6. Like, you're not here by then. And I get out at 6. There's no way for me to be 15 minutes away at 6 when I'm clocking out of my job. So it made no sense. And they basically were just like, no, you're not going to be late. Like, that's what time we close. And DSS is not going to pay for late fees. So it's like, now I'm going to get charged for another thing. And I said, we can't choose this daycare. And she said, well, basically, like, you're kind of crap out of luck then. And I'm like, great. So you've given us a child to take care of, to be responsible for, that you all said you were going to provide care for as far as daycare. And now you're telling us that the only option for daycare that we have is one that you know will not support Cody and I's work schedule. So now we're putting an ultimatum of what? Having to leave work early every day to pick her up and potentially sacrifice my job for that? I can't do that. I can't even financially do that. So now you're asking me to leave work early and take a pay cut, plus pay for, several different fees now on top of losing money. I didn't know what else to do. I said, okay, is there any other daycares in the area that we could get put on a wait list for? Like, it is imperative that she start daycare. We're running out of options. Like, we're running out of favors to call in. And so she said basically she would look into it. So about 10 days went by and I never heard anything from her. And I said, basically, like, what's the deal? Like, where can we get on this wait list? Like, it's important that we do this. She sent me like a list of like maybe 4 or 5 daycares in the area that were accepting wait lists. They were all like a 6-month wait. And I said, oh my God, like, okay, well, we just better get on one. So I told her which one I wanted to choose to put her on the wait list. That was like weeks ago. Never heard anything from her. I doubt we're even on a wait list. So I started doing my own research and called another daycare and found one that is very close to my work. And they're accepting children of her age group. They had an opening in about 2 weeks. So And this is why I get upset. This is why I know that I'm being ignored. I call my social worker, not my social worker. I called our foster daughter's social worker. No answer. So I leave a voicemail and I say, hey, this is in regards to, the daycare for our foster daughter. I need to talk to you about it. No call back, no text, no email, nothing, just never heard. So I think maybe about an hour went by and I still hadn't heard anything from her. And I said, that's it. I'm going to try to basically bait it and see if my suspicions are correct. So I email her, and in the header, I try to do a punchy little line up there about, I think I found daycare. Boy, did that get a response. Like 10 minutes later, I'm getting a call from her. Oh, I saw your email. Sorry, I'm driving and I couldn't text or call. You're driving and you couldn't text or call, but you're calling me. And you couldn't text me, but you read my email. I'm sorry, that's really confusing to me, but I understand. So I know I'm being ignored. And to be quite honest, it's ticking me off, because at the end of the day, us doing foster care is us trying to meet a need in our community. It is us doing a favor for our community. These children are not ours. They're not. They belong to their parents or to their family members, or in some cases to whomever is going to adopt them in the future. But right now, technically they belong to the county. That's their responsibility. But they don't take responsibility for it. They leave everything on you. And when you need help, they're not there to help you. But yet you can only do but so much because you're restricted, because you're not their parent. I can't even sign her up for daycare. That is what's frustrating. I can find all the daycares in the world that have openings, but I cannot sign her up for it because DSS has to pay for it. DSS has to fill out the application and get the funding approved for it. They have to talk to the director, not me. I would urge you very, very strongly that if you are not absolutely convinced and convicted that this is what you're supposed to do, learn from us, learn from our situation, and just really think about it, because it puts you in positions that you might not be able to get your way out of. The amount of times that Cody and I have had to call out of work, the amount of times that we've had to reach out to our family members for extra favors, and then the amount of things that you can't do or you're not allowed to do because it's not your child, but you can't get a hold of DSS. It's almost a disservice to the children, because so many foster parents, I think, are leaving foster care because of their experience with the system. Not always just because of the children, but because of the system. And it's disappointing and it's discouraging. But at the end of the day, people have their own lives to live, and you can't just be a slave to DSS. You can't just lay down your life and say, just do what you want with me, we have bills to pay and responsibilities of our own, and it's almost becoming hindering on a normal day-to-day life. So the search for care continues. I hope we don't lose this spot. at the daycare, because I don't know what we will have to be forced to do if we don't have care for a child who obviously cannot care for herself. She needs care. And DSS knew our work schedules before they called us for this placement. Our work schedules have not changed. I feel like sometimes they're so desperate to get a child placed with a family that they don't do their research into what that family really looks like, and would this really work long term, short term, doesn't matter. Like, we made a decision based on false information. I feel like we made a decision based on DSS's promise to us that this is how it goes. Oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll pay for that. Now it's time for them to fulfill their word and fulfill their promise, and we're just sitting ducks. So be careful. That's all I can say. Just be careful and pray for us. I'll see you guys later.